And now I can turn it around and have a look at the writing that's been hiding underneath.
So no one's seen that writing for 4,000 or 5,000 years?
Yeah, the only person that's seen it previously is the one who wrote it.
Across time, civilizations have risen and fallen, leaving behind colossal monuments, undeciphered scripts, and knowledge that feels impossibly advanced for their era. In this video, we'll uncover the secrets of the most mysterious civilizations in history. Let's find out their secrets. Göbekli Tepe. Discovered in the 1990s, this ancient temple is more than 11,000 years old, built millennia before Stonehenge, the pyramids, or even the invention of agriculture.
It wasn't until German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt visited the site and began digging. They realized what was really at this site.
Its discovery forced historians to ask, did civilizations really start the way we thought? The site is filled with massive T-shaped stone pillars, some weighing 10 tons. Arranged in circles, many are decorated with carvings of animals, lions, snakes, vultures, and even abstract symbols. The craftsmanship suggests not just survival, but deep spiritual meaning. But here's the catch. Göbekli Tepe was built by hunter-gatherers, people not thought capable of such monumental construction. How did they organize labor, quarry stone, and carve with such precision, without farming, cities, or metal tools? The site raises a radical question. Did spirituality give birth to civilization? Instead of farming leading to temples, perhaps temples led to farming, people gathering to worship and then settling permanently nearby? If true, Göbekli Tepe flips our entire understanding of history on its head. But the greatest mystery is why, after centuries of use, the builders buried the site deliberately. The massive pillars were covered with soil, almost as if the people wanted to preserve or hide it for the future.
The site of Göbekli Tepe really did send shockwaves, because we'd never before known or imagined even that simple hunter-gatherers could produce such spectacular monumental structures.
Was it ritual, fear, or an attempt to protect knowledge too dangerous to be left exposed? Even more intriguing, some researchers believe the carvings represent constellations or even record a comet strike that reshaped the Earth's climate. If so, Göbekli Tepe may not only be the world's first temple, but also the world's first archive of cosmic memory. Today, its stone circles stand silent, older than history itself, daring us to ask, who were these builders, and what knowledge did they carry that we have long since lost? The Sumerians. Long before Rome, long before the pharaohs raised their pyramids, there were the Sumerians, the people may call the first true civilization.
Have you seen the new scans where they found new petroglyphs?
Yeah. The man, there's gonna be so much like that that's gonna be found. People are gonna be able to.
What is all that?
Around 4000 BCE, they appeared suddenly in Mesopotamia, the land between rivers, and built sprawling cities, invented writing, and even created the world's first legal codes. But the true mystery isn't just what they accomplished, it's how they accomplished it so suddenly.
Astronomical references, a moon, a star, various symbols, which even could be symbolized as a wristwatch. Technology being used 6,000 years ago.
The Sumerians developed cuneiform, the earliest known writing system, inscribed on clay tablets. With it, they recorded everything from trade receipts to complex myths about gods descending from the heavens. Their astronomical knowledge was staggering. They mapped stars, tracked planetary movements, and created a lunar calendar with a precision that baffles scholars even today. But what truly unsettles historians are their myths. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, powerful beings who came from the sky and taught humanity the arts of civilization. Were these simply religious stories, or echoes of something else? Visitors, teachers, perhaps knowledge lost to time? Adding to the mystery, the Sumerians had advanced knowledge of mathematics, using a base 60 system that gave us the concept of 360 degrees in a circle and the 60-minute hour. Why would an entire civilization choose such a sophisticated number system, one still in use today? And then, almost as suddenly as they appeared, the Sumerians disappeared. Their cities were conquered, their culture absorbed, but many of their innovations remained, carried forward by later civilizations. Still, we're left with a haunting question. How did a people at the dawn of history leap so far ahead, creating the very foundations of modern society? The Sumerians may be gone, but their secrets of the stars, of numbers, of gods that walked the earth remain etched in clay, waiting for us to truly understand. The Ancient Egyptians. Few civilizations captivate the imagination like the ancient Egyptians. Their pyramids rise out of the desert like frozen enigmas, defying time, weather, and even human explanation.
There are water erosion marks on the body of the Sphinx caused by rain, but that level of rain hasn't been around Egypt for over 9,000 years.
Built more than 4,000 years ago, the Great Pyramid of Giza is still one of the most precise structures on Earth, aligned almost perfectly with true north and the constellations above. How did a people without modern tools achieve such precision?
The Great Pyramid of Giza is a marvel of architecture, and there's about 2 million of them to create a perfect pyramid shape.
The Egyptians left behind hieroglyphs, monuments, and mummies, but also countless mysteries.
Mummification was an incredibly intricate procedure. All of the organs were removed with surgical precision, including the brain, which was extracted through the nose.
Their obsession with the afterlife led to astonishing advances in medicine, embalming, and architecture. They understood the human body well enough to perform surgeries, yet wrapped their dead with rituals so complex they remained unmatched. Did they know something about death and the soul that we've forgotten?
Ask anyone what comes to mind when you say ancient Egypt, and I would bet you that they say mummies.
Then there's the Sphinx, carved from a single massive block of limestone. Its weathering suggests it may be thousands of years older than Egypt's dynasties. Some believe it hides secret chambers, possibly containing records of an earlier lost civilization. Modern scans hint at voids beneath the Sphinx, but Egypt keeps such findings guarded, fueling speculation that a deeper truth is being kept from the world. The Egyptians also mastered astronomy and engineering. Temples like Abu Simbel are aligned so that twice a year, sunlight penetrates deep inside to illuminate statues of the gods. Were these alignments merely religious or part of a cosmic knowledge we barely grasp?
Abu Simbel was saved from being submerged in the lake and lost forever after an international outcry. Thanks to a heroic effort in 1968, this ancient temple was cut into huge blocks and relocated to this spot, high and dry, for at least another 3,000 years.
Despite centuries of study, one thing remains clear. The Egyptians were more than just pyramid builders. They were keepers of secrets, weaving their knowledge into stone and myth. And as archaeologists continue to unearth tombs and decode texts, we are reminded that perhaps the greatest treasure Egypt holds is not gold, but the mysteries of human possibility. The Indus Valley Civilization. In the plains of modern-day Pakistan and northwest India, once thrived the Indus Valley Civilization, a society so advanced yet so silent.
The Indus Valley Civilization, nobody actually knew that it existed until it was accidentally discovered while a railway was being built through a site now called Mohenjo-Daro in Pakistan. And then they found that there were these actually very, very sophisticated, very complex mud brick structures on a very large scale.
It remains one of history's greatest enigmas, flourishing around 2500 BCE. The cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro had grid-like streets, advanced drainage systems, public baths, and even standardized weights and measures. Achievements unmatched in many places for thousands of years. But here's the catch, we still can't read their language. Thousands of seals with symbols have been found, but the Indus script remains undeciphered. Without it, we're left staring at a mute civilization, unable to know their myths, their rulers, or even why they vanished.
Then they found that this culture had had a language, a fully developed written script. It's about 5,000 years old, but there isn't a single Rosetta Stone that enables us to translate that script into any more recent language. So we can't read that script. The script exists, but we can't read it. So there could be all kinds of information in that script, which tells all kinds of things about our past, but it's not readable.
Imagine an entire society that advanced, yet left behind no readable voice. The mystery deepens with their sudden disappearance. Unlike Egypt or Mesopotamia, the Indus cities now show little evidence of war or conquest. There are no grand temples or palaces, no kings carved into stone. Instead, their culture seems almost collective, built on trade, order, and balance, and then gone. Some scholars suggest climate change, others a shifting river system or disease, but no single theory fully explains the sudden silence. Perhaps the greatest puzzle is their peaceful nature. With no evidence of massive armies or empires, they seem to thrive without war, a rarity in ancient history. What wisdom did they hold that allowed them to build vast, organized cities without the iron fist of kings and armies? Today, the Indus Valley lies in ruins, its once bustling streets quiet, its script locked like a code refusing to be cracked, and maybe that's the ultimate mystery. A civilization advanced enough to rival its neighbors, yet content to leave behind only whispers of who they were. The Maya. Deep in the jungles of Central America, the Maya civilization rose to extraordinary heights. From about 2000 BCE to the 16th century, they built towering stone cities like Tikal, Chichen Itza, and Palenque. Places where temples soared above the canopy and the stars were tracked with an accuracy that rivals modern astronomy. The Maya weren't just architects, they were timekeepers. Their calendar system was astonishingly complex, built on interlocking cycles that tracked days, seasons, and cosmic ages. They predicted solar eclipses, tracked Venus's movements, and aligned their temples with celestial events. How could a civilization without telescopes possess such cosmic insight? Their writing system, the only fully developed script of the Americas, recorded dynasties, wars, and rituals.
If they could just break this code, then they could understand so much about what the people who built these cities found so important that they'd carve it into stone.
Yet, when Spanish conquerors arrived, most of their books were burned, leaving only 4 surviving codices. Those fragments hint at a worldview where the cosmos and human life were deeply intertwined, where time itself was sacred. But the greatest Maya mystery is their sudden collapse. Around the 9th century, great cities were abandoned, palaces crumbled, temples fell silent, and the jungle swallowed their achievements. Why did millions of Maya simply vanish from their cities? Some blame drought, others warfare or internal revolt. Yet, the abruptness suggests something deeper, a societal unraveling we still don't fully understand. Adding to the enigma, the Maya believed in cycles of creation and destruction. Their infamous 2012 prophecy wasn't about the end of the world, but the end of a great cycle.
We should be very wary of what will happen in 2012. Their calendar runs for over 5,000 years, and then it abruptly stops on December 21st in 2012.
Still, it raises the question, did the Maya know something about the rise and fall of civilizations? Perhaps even their own? That we have yet to comprehend?
A pole shift will cause earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis.
The Maya left pyramids that defy time and knowledge that seems beyond their era. Their cities may be ruins now, but their secrets of time, stars, and fate still pulse with the jungle, daring us to decode them. The Olmecs. Long before the Maya or the Aztecs, another mysterious people thrived in Mesopotamia, the Olmecs, often called the mother culture of the region.
But before the Aztecs and before the Maya, there were a culture who are referred to as the Olmecs.
From 1200 to 400 BCE, they built the foundations of what would later become great civilizations, yet they themselves remain shrouded in mystery. The most iconic Olmec legacy are the colossal stone heads, massive basalt sculptures, some weighing up to 50 tons. Each head has distinct facial features, lips, and helmets, as if portraying individual rulers or warriors. But how did they transport such enormous stones across swamps and rivers without wheels or beasts of burden? And more intriguingly, who were the faces? Some claim the heads resemble people of African or Asian origin, sparking theories of early transoceanic contact. Could the Olmecs have met travelers from across the sea centuries before Columbus, or were they simply representing their own diverse people? The truth remains elusive.
The name Olmec was given in more recent times. and is derived from an Aztec term roughly meaning inhabitants of the rubber country.
Beyond the heads, the Olmecs left behind clues of a highly spiritual culture. They worshipped jaguar gods, carved intricate jade figures, and possibly invented the Mesoamerican ball game that later spread across the continent. Yet they left no written history that we can decipher, only symbols and artifacts that hint at their worldview. And then, mysteriously, the Olmecs vanished. By 400 BCE, their great centers were abandoned. No clear evidence of invasion or catastrophe exists. Instead, their culture seems to dissolve into those that followed. The Maya, the Aztecs, like a shadow absorbed into the future. The Olmecs gave birth to traditions that shaped an entire region, yet their own story is still locked in stone. Who were they? Where did their knowledge come from? And why did they disappear just as suddenly as they rose? Their colossal heads still stare silently across the jungles of Mexico, as if guarding secrets too heavy for time to carry. The Minoans. On the island of Crete, thousands of years before Athens or Rome rose to power, there flourished a civilization of stunning beauty and sophistication. The Minoans, between 3000 and 1450 BCE, they built palaces so vast and complex that some believe they inspired the myth of the labyrinth.
I've come to realize that these early archaeologists were themselves myth makers, and so one of the fascinating things about studying Minoan Crete is that you're often untangling the myths not only from early Greece, but also the myths which have come down from some of these archaeologists, Arthur Evans included.
The home of the half-man, half-bull Minotaur. The heart of their world was Knossos, a sprawling palace with grand staircases, storerooms, and advanced plumbing systems that included flushing toilets, luxuries centuries ahead of their time. Their art reveals a people who adored the sea, painted dolphins on their walls, and celebrated ritual bull leaping in arenas. Unlike many ancient societies, the Minoans seemed less warlike and more devoted to trade, art, and ritual. But the Minoans left behind one of history's most enduring mysteries: their writing. They used a script known as Linear A, which remains undeciphered to this day. What stories, laws, or histories lie trapped in those symbols? Could it hold the key to understanding their sudden disappearance? And that disappearance remains the greatest puzzle.
We know so little about the Minoans, partly because we cannot understand their inscriptions.
There is definitely a lot of work to be done, yes, for cracking the code of Linear A. We do need some more evidence. We don't have any kind of Rosetta Stone for Linear A.
Around 1450 BCE, Minoan civilization collapsed. Some blame the eruption of Thera, Santorini, one of the most powerful volcanic events in record. Others point to invasions by the Mycenaeans. But there is also a more enduring legend that the Minoans were the inspiration of Plato's Atlantis, a mighty maritime power destroyed in a single day and night. Whether myth or history, the Minoans were a people of elegance and mystery. Their palaces now lying in ruins, their language unread, their fate uncertain, they remind us that even the most dazzling civilizations can vanish, leaving behind only whispers of their greatness. The Nazca culture. Across the arid plains of southern Peru, etched into the desert floor, lie some of the most puzzling creations in human history. The Nazca lines, stretching for miles, these massive geoglyphs depict animals, plants, geometric shapes, and even humanoid figures. Some are so vast that they can only be fully seen from the sky.
The Nazca lines. For over 1,000 years, they lay undisturbed beneath the violent desert sun.
And here lies the great mystery. The Nazca people flourished between 200 BCE and 600 CE, long before humans could take to the air. How and why did they create such colossal designs? The desert soil, covered in a thin layer of dark rock, reveals lighter sand when scraped away. With careful planning, the Nazca could have drawn these lines, but the precision, the perfect proportions of a hummingbird or monkey, suggests an advanced understanding of geometry. Were they simply religious pathways or something more?
Many people think in the theories about extraterrestrials who built the geoglyphs. It's a complex phenomenon, and to explain it with extraterrestrials makes it simple.
Some scholars believe the lines were ritual walkways used in ceremonies to call for rain in a region where water meant survival. Others suggest they were astronomical calendars, mapping the solstices and stars. But the strange theory is also the most enduring, that they were messages to the gods. Beings the Nazca believed resided in the heavens. If true, then these giant figures may not have been meant for human eyes at all, but for something or someone watching from above. Adding to the enigma, the Nazca practiced elaborate rituals, including offerings of textiles, pottery, and even human sacrifice. Their world revolved around maintaining balance with nature, especially in such a harsh desert environment. Perhaps the geoglyphs were their ultimate prayer, an attempt to bridge earth and sky. And yet, by the 7th century, the Nazca culture declined. Climate change, overuse of resources, or invasion may have played a role. The desert winds covered their villages, but the lines endured, preserved by the dry climate, as if the Nazca's final message was never meant to fade. Today, the Nazca lines remains one of archaeology's greatest puzzles. Are they art, calendar, or communication? The truth is hidden in the desert silence, waiting for us to read the language of giants carved into the earth. Atlantis. Few names ignite the imagination like Atlantis, a civilization so advanced, so powerful, that it supposedly vanished in a single day and night. First described by the philosopher Plato in the 4th century BCE, Atlantis was said to be a mighty seafaring empire beyond the Pillars of Hercules, modern-day Gibraltar. According to Plato, it had grand palaces, canals, and technology unmatched by its time, but greed and arrogance led to its downfall, and the gods punished Atlantis by submerging it beneath the sea. For centuries, scholars have debated, was Atlantis real or just a parable about human pride?
Going back 5,000 years, we have sacred texts that tell us there was an antediluvian civilization.
Some dismiss it as pure myth, a story Plato invented to warn against corruption. Yet others believe it may reflect a distant memory of a real place, preserved in myth across generations. Theories abound. Some point to the island of Santorini, Thera, where a catastrophic volcano eruption around 1600 BCE destroyed the flourishing Minoan civilization. Could this disaster have inspired the Atlantis story? Others look to the Azores in the Atlantic, the coast of Spain, or even Antarctica, suggesting that shifting ice and seas swallowed a forgotten land. What makes Atlantis so enduring is not just its supposed location, but the claim of its advanced knowledge. Stories speak of sophisticated engineering, flying machines, and even energy harnessed from crystals, ideas far beyond what Greece should have known. Were these embellishments of later storytellers or echoes of something real, now lost to the deep? Unlike the pyramids of Nazca lines, Atlantis leaves behind no ruins we can study, only stories, and perhaps that's why it fascinates us. It's the ultimate what if. What if there really was a civilization more advanced than any before it, erased from the earth, with only whispers left in ancient texts? Whether real or imagined, Atlantis represents humanity's greatest fear and greatest hope that our civilization, no matter how mighty, can fall in an instant, and yet, that, perhaps hidden beneath the waves, lies a forgotten chapter of our story, waiting to resurface. Rapa Nui. Far out in the Pacific Ocean lies one of the most isolated places on Earth, Rapa Nui, better known as Easter Island. Here, hundreds of towering stone figures, called moai, stand like silent guardians, staring inland across the barren landscape.
On Easter Island, we have these huge heads and torsos that are carved out of the volcanic rock. They are called the moai.
Carved between the 13th and 16th centuries, some weigh over 80 tons and stand more than 30 feet tall. The question is not just how they were made, but how they moved. The Rapa Nui people had no wheels, no large animals, and only limited tools. Yet, somehow, they transported these colossal statues across miles of rugged terrain. Local legends say the Maui walked into places, and modern experiments show they could have been rocked forward using ropes. But whether through ingenious engineering or lost techniques, the feat remains astonishing and the mystery deepens. Why did they build the Moai at all? Many believe they represented ancestors, channeling spiritual power to protect their islanders. Others suggest they symbolized authority and unity, but by the time Europeans arrived in the 18th century, the society that built them had collapsed.
Whatever they were for, they're made to last for thousands of years. They're built out of blocks of stone that weigh many, many tons. Not only are people building structures out of these huge megalithic blocks of stone.
The story often told is one of ecological disaster. The Rapa Nui allegedly cut down their forest to move statues, leading to soil erosion, famine, and warfare. But newer research paints a more complex picture. Rats brought to the island may have destroyed the trees, and European contact introduces disease and slavery that devastated the population. So was the collapse the fault of the Rapa Nui or a tragedy of outside forces? Today, the Moai still stand, their faces worn but resolute, staring across the island as if guarding secrets too heavy to share. They remind us of both human creativity and human fragility, a small society that dared to leave behind giants only to vanish into near silence. So the question remains, if so much of our past is still hidden, how much of our present do we truly understand? What if the history we know is only half the story?